Hi everyone, my name is Ash, and today I'm going to walk you through what Palsa has to share about Ramadan in general since the 1st of March. So, our Ramadan topic here consists of keywords relating to Ramadan itself, puasa, sahur, iftar, and hari raya. Let's start by looking at the biggest narratives during this period. As you can see, Palsa has identified four big narratives, four main narratives driven by the keywords that you see before you here. Okay, so these are the most prominent keywords that appear within each of the narratives. The first one, consisting of Adab, Puasa, and Ramadan, talks about how Ramadan vibes are being driven by nostalgic nasheed tunes, Shopee deals, and tips for saving during the holy month. The second one talks about Ramadan events, budget buffets, flight subsidies offered by the government to East Malaysia for Hari Raya. The third one is about Ramadan kicking off in Asia with prayers and celebration, and how the Bangladeshi football team is actually preparing for the World Cup qualifiers against Palestine. The final one is our favorite topic, and it's how Ramadan in KL is all about bazaars and buffets, and also hotels driving the food experiences. Now, are there any negative narratives that's being driven at this point in time? Thing is, there are. So these are the biggest narratives, the negative narratives as detected by Pulsar. I think the most salient one is the second narrative, basically, where Pulsar shows top content discussing Ramadan bazaars in 2024 struggling with regretting food pricing and an American tourist encountering a beggar that sparks a controversy. Now, the top content that is driving this narrative at this point in time includes an article from Focus Malaysia, where there was a headline that said lackluster business at Ramadan bazaars was due to the traders selling the same items, netizens complaining about lump sum pricing and incorrect spelling of snacks, for example. And finally, the poor quality of foods, where one of the example is where a netizen actually regretted buying tooth-breaking popia. So do be careful when you're buying food at the Ramadan bazaars from now till the end of this period. We now move on to the next chart of interest today, which is our influencer network graph, where we can identify the main conversations, the main cluster of conversations that are taking place within the Ramadan topic during this period of time. So as you can see here, there are three main clusters. One is the color coded accordingly. We have a green one here, a blue, and a orange cluster here. So those are the three clusters that we're going to focus on today. Now, this green cluster is being driven by user March Forward on X, where you can see there is a significant amount of volume and connections between uh, at March Forward and all of his users, or his or her users, my apologies. Yeah. And you can see that the content that at March Forward is driving is more towards current affairs, political content, but he or she is also sharing content regarding Ramadan here. Okay, the second largest conversation is being driven by our Prime Minister himself, where you'll see that this is the volume and this is the number of connections that he has as well. And the content is more towards him breaking fast with different dignitaries, with Malaysians overseas, and he's expressed condolences on two students who had unfortunately passed away in New Zealand recently. And the third largest conversation is being driven by another user at FYF555, cheekily wishing everyone Selamat Berbuka while thirsting over the Thai actor Mile at Gurlane's TRX KL's event recently. Now, yes, although for yellow, or rather user FYF555 is driving the conversation that way, you can see there are a lot of secondary conversation engagement going on from other users as well at the same time. We now go into looking at what are the things people searched for on Google on Ramadan during this period. Now, naturally, one of the questions that they had was when does Ramadan start in Malaysia? and when does Ramadan end in Malaysia as well at the same time. But I suppose what is a little bit surprising is when people ask, when does Malaysia actually celebrate Ramadan? Which is pretty surprising to actually see because it's something that obviously we've celebrated or we've actually observed over a number of decades now at this point in time, right? And then aside from that, as far as specifics are concerned, people also search for Ramadan recipes that are specific to Malaysia. They also looked for Ramadan Malaysia tourists, Ramadan Malaysia tourism, which is pretty interesting. I think because of the moon sighting, the Hilal sighting, as well as the crescent sighting in Makassar, and the Hilal sighting was in Saudi Arabia. My apologies. I think people were also looking to see if there was a moon sighting for Ramadan here in Malaysia, right? And then yeah, so they also searched for things like the Ramadan announcement and so on and so forth. But here's what's interesting about this particular chart. If I were to click on Ramadan Malaysia Tourism now, I'll be able to see my local results as reflected by Google itself. So these are some of the highest search results, the most relevant search results as far as tourism during Ramadan is concerned. And then, aside from that, we are also able to look at the related searches where Ramadan Malaysia is concerned. And naturally, people were looking for things like Ramadan Malaysia rules, whether eating in public is allowed during Ramadan, and the idea of other people visiting Malaysia during Ramadan as well at the same time. Now, aside from search data, we are also able to look at location-specific data, okay, and the prevailing sentiments according to countries, cities, as well as different and geo-coordinates in different locales. Yeah. So as far as the prevailing sentiments of cities are concerned, you'll be able to see that the prevailing sentiment in KL is tending more towards positive at the moment, with some negative content. There are spotty negative results coming from different other cities as well, like Sabah Bernam here, Tasik Kelugu, and Kuantan as well as from Kota Kinabalu at this point in time. Now, as far as the geo-coordinate heat map is concerned, because we genuinely like stalking all of our users, unfortunately, we are able to go down to street level here and try and understand where people who discussed Ramadan um, posted content from during this period. Okay, so don't get any funny ideas about saying anything bad about Ramadan because we know exactly where you are. I'm just kidding. That's all from me at this point in time. I wish everyone a smooth Ramadan ahead, and thank you so much for watching this video.